Home Alone has become a tradition for many during the holidays, and for good reason. It's just fun all around. The comedy is well written. At 103 minutes, the runtime is easy to digest. The contrast between noise and silence adds a certain level of interest as well. It's a movie the whole family can enjoy. Well, as long as you teach your kids setting dangerous traps and knocking people out is wrong, then it's fun for the whole family. I think most know the story by now. An understandably sassy Kevin McAllister, constantly being picked on by his own family, gets into a fight with them and sent to the 3rd floor for the night. The next morning, a nosy neighbor kid is included in the head count on the way to the airport, and Kevin is left home alone. He wished he never saw his family again, and thinks he made them disappear. And it's all fun and games until 2 petty burglars come along, working the neighborhood while all the families are on vacation, so he must defend his home when they target his house. The slapstick comedy during the finale transforms Home Alone into something entirely different, and is arguably the best part. The way these burglars have their heads handed to them is at the same time downright sadistic and cartoonish. The amount of abuse these guys take, they shouldn't even be conscious. And if you've ever seen Casino or Goodfellas, you can see and hear Joe Pesci holding his tongue. The stunt team really needs to be praised for their work as well. There are some hard falls here. Buzz makes the neighbor out to be a serial killer, but Kevin finds out he's really a nice guy. His small part in the storyline brings an emotional side to the film. Even though this neighbor character wasn't in the original script, Buzz sets him up so well that when you find out about him, his story doesn't feel out of place or feels like any kind of filler. Though most of Home Alone doesn't feel like a Christmas film, they sure make it look like one. I noticed a lot of red and green sprinkled throughout. Green walls, red candles, red flowers, green walls, red and green wallpaper, red crane, green hard hat, green phone, red bedspread, green towels, red and green wallpaper, red and green wallpaper, green dish soap, red curtains, red plates, green marble rolling pin, red curtains, green wall, red iced tea, red sack, green boxes, red kettle, green jug, red clothes, green shutters, green house, red sauce, green walls, green sweater, red jacket, green sofa, red skirt, green strap, red sweater, green pants, green furnace, red sewing mannequin, red and green pinball machine, green wheelchair, red suitcase, red and green bike chains, red padlock. I think when I first saw the character of Kevin McAllister doing grown-up tasks on his own, it subconsciously reminded me of another group of kids who sometimes behave more mature than they are. Maybe that's another reason I really like this movie. Seeing John Candy is always great. He's the man. He and Catherine O'Hara worked together on one of my all-time favorite TV shows, SCTV, so seeing them working together again is a treat. I thought the usual tired, old, fluffy, fluttery, flowery John Williams children's movie score would be annoying me throughout, but it really does fit here. When Kevin visits the church, the choir segment sounds particularly good. That's where he meets his neighbor, who's there to see his granddaughter sing, the little red-headed girl. One recurring gag of the lawn jockey getting hit by drivers approaching the house always makes me laugh. The pizza boy hits it, then the airport shuttle, even the police officer that goes to check the house, and then the pizza boy again. A couple of small beefs. I've always had a problem with the sledding down the stairs scene. I don't think there's any way he could have made it out that door. When Kevin runs scared into the house, he doesn't lock the door and leaves the lights on. When the officer goes to the house, he he doesn't check the doorknob. But if he did, well, that may have been the end of the movie. And the burglars look too far out on this rope to swing into the house. There's nothing here that takes away from the enjoyment of the movie, though. Overall, Home Alone does a fantastic job combining and juggling comedy, emotion, warm-heartedness, and slapstick, and is a Christmas movie that's aged very well. Home Alone 2: Lost in New York starts with the same MO as the first, as the family prepares for a trip to Florida. Kevin, playing with a personal voice recorder, sees a promo for a luxury hotel on a game show. An incident at a Christmas pageant sets up the trouble with Kevin and his family, just like last time, and sent to the 3rd floor, just like last time. At least this time, Kevin makes it as far as the airport, but gets on the wrong plane, carrying a piece of his father's luggage and heading for New York, where the burglars he foiled the first time have escaped to. Kevin finds the luxury hotel he saw on TV, and manages to get a room with his father's credit card. He also runs into another scary outsider, who is really nice and eventually becomes a friend. Not only does Kevin have to deal with the burglars, who plan on ripping off a toy store on Christmas Eve, but a new villain in the hotel concierge, played by Tim Curry, trying to bust Kevin for booking a room with a stolen credit card. And after Kevin takes pictures of the burglars robbing the toy store, the big trap house finale takes place at Kevin's uncle's house that's under renovation. Home Alone 2 has a slightly more Christmassy feel than the original, with portions taking place in a toy store and at Rockefeller Center. Everything about the first is amped up here. The traps hit harder and the slapstick is even more cartoonish. If the first movie's traps should have knocked these guys out, then in this movie, they should be goners. That contrast between loud and quiet I mentioned about the first film is gone here. This one is almost always loud. Understandable, being in New York. It runs 17 minutes longer than the first film. It doesn't sound like a lot, but seeing how similar it is to Home Alone 1, it feels like a lot. A couple other beefs include Joe Pesci holding his tongue from swearing feels a lot more scripted this time around and not as funny as before. Home Alone 2 is more ambitious, but this particular Blu-ray has no special features, just crummy theatrical trailers for the first 3 films. The first Blu-ray had plenty of behind-the-scenes content. The one thing they could have done to make the film even better is if they brought back John Candy in some capacity, or maybe another former SCTV cast member interacting with Catherine O'Hara. I can just imagine Eugene Levy as the police officer, playing a Gus-like character. Overall, you can tell the filmmakers wanted to raise the stakes and top themselves, and they succeeded. But that welcoming, organic feeling of the first is gone. That being said, it doesn't make it any less fun or funny, with some parts, in my opinion, being even funnier than the first. Still a good one to watch during the holidays. Oh, and that's the last time anyone hits that lawn jockey. They actually broke it. When Kevin McAllister's Macaulay Culkin family leaves for Christmas vacation, they forget one thing: Kevin. So the 8-year-old starts decorating for the holidays. But when 2 bumbling burglars, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, try to break in, Kevin rigs a hilarious array of booby traps for them in this comical holiday hit. Home Alone 2: Lost in New York. This year, Kevin, Culkin, is spending the holidays in New York City. Unfortunately, his parents are spending them in Florida. Accidentally separated from his parents once again, Kevin manages to find food, lodging, and fun using his dad's credit card. But when the notorious Wet Bandits escape prison and head for New York too, Kevin must use his wits and welcome them in his own unforgettable way. Greatest holiday family films ever.